Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how I drew this cute little robin. I did a real-time video on how I drew the eye for this bird. I have linked the video above. After the eye was finished, I worked on getting the details around the eye completed. All I did for this was go in with hard pressure and put white down under the eye and slightly in the corners. I then went in with cream, and after that was all finished, I started going in with 10% warm gray to get some of the line details in under the eye. After that was done, I went in and started on the feathers. For this, I used light and dark cadmium yellow, oranges, and reds. To get the dark shadows that I could see in the feathers, I just went in with light brown, raw umber, and then walnut brown. And to really make the dark parts blend in, I added a dark red on top. I worked from the eye over to above the beak using the same colors throughout this part. When it comes to creating feathers, it is important to stick with going in the correct feather direction, just like when you're drawing fur. So, for this part, I made sure the feathers curved around the head in the correct direction, starting from the base and up towards the back of the head. I also put down 10% warm gray where the cream and gray meet. This helps the colors blend together more smoothly, and it's also a nice reminder to not go too far with the red feathers. I started on the beak off camera. What I did was add in the white spots. On camera, I started with cream and then added in blues and purples on top of the beak that you could see in the reference photo. I then went in with my dark warm grays and a hint of orange and a little bit of blue on the bottom. I went over it all to smooth it out with white. For the gray feathers on top of the robin's head, I went in blocking in my light areas as I always do with white. I then went in with 10% warm gray, then I added in a hint of purple to show a slight reflection on the feathers. Then going in with 20% warm gray to add in some feather texture. I noticed that in some areas there was a hint of brown, so I just went in with light brown, raw umber, and then walnut brown for these spots. Moving down the side of the bird, I added in the cream to the feathers that start to turn into gray to help the colors blend in together and make it look like a nice smooth transition from one color to the next. It was a nice reminder to not go past this part when adding in the colors as well. I also added in purple and a touch of blue and then that brown that I could see. Later on, I added in a salt gray just to make the feathers more on the blue side. I even added in 70% warm gray to show more feather details. Now for the gray feathers at the bottom, I used the same colors as I already mentioned, but there was a slight hint of yellow in this part, so I just went over it with cream. To get the fine feather details, I went in off camera with a nail dotting tool and scored the page. This came in handy throughout the whole drawing because it was a nice reminder that you can really see that the feathers are overlapping in that spot. I made sure to go darker under the light areas just so you can see more feather details. I just continued layering on those colors until I had the outcome I was looking for. I continued on going in the correct feather direction and I kept looking at my reference photo so I could make sure that I put the colors down in the correct spot. After this part was finished, I started on the red chest. This part was fun to do because there was a little bit more detail that you could see in the feathers here. I continued to use the same colors for around the eye and above the beak. I wanted some of the feathers to look like they were standing out more for this. I made sure to use defined lines with walnut brown and even a little bit of sepia and 70% warm gray. And I just continued to layer all the colors that I thought was needed in this part. I wanted it to be a nice, vibrant looking red-chested robin, and to do this, I knew I had to look closely at my reference photo and to get the shading and light areas into the correct spots. Doing that can help your artwork look more realistic. So, to get the bright colors I was hoping to get, I started with the light colors first and continued to layer them in a shading motion until I was happy, and then I went in with my dark colors to add in the shadows. The lines that I put down at the beginning with the nail dotting tool came in so handy at this point because while layering my colors, I could see them come through more clearly, and I knew where to add my dark colors and where the light colors should be as well. I just continued on layering down my colors, making sure I had the lines and the feathers in the correct areas until I was happy. I even went in with darker colors to really make some of those feathers pop out and so you could see them more clearly. I continued layering my colors in the correct feather direction, making sure some of those lines overlapped one another to give it a more realistic look. Here I'm just adding in my darker colors to make the bottom of the red chest more dark in value and in color so that way it looks more real because where the top of the belly is, it was a lot lighter in the reference photo than the underbelly. I continued layering the colors that I thought were needed in this piece until I was happy with the outcome. I then started working on the feet. Now, in the reference photo, there wasn't that much detail that I could see in the feet, so I didn't show much of the work I did because it was a quick, easy thing that I put together. I hope this helps you, and I hope you enjoyed watching this cute little robin come to life. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.